Well, if there's anything that's going in India's favor at this juncture, it is the fact that we maintain excellent diplomatic relations with a host of countries who are willing to step in this hour of need, not least among them the United States of America. Joining us now, Nisha Biswal, the President of the United States-India Business Council. Thanks very much, Ms. Biswal, for joining us. I've gone through the package very, very carefully. It's very, very extensive. The critics actually came before the package was announced, and the critics said that why isn't Mr. Biden acting fast enough? But quite clearly, it seems that America is willing to help India in a massive manner. Could you tell us how?
Absolutely. It's great to be with you. And let me just say, first of all, on behalf of the U.S. India Business Council and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the business community at large, we are so moved by what is happening in India. As our CEO, Suzanne Clark, has said, that COVID anywhere is a concern for people everywhere, and that we have to make sure that we are addressing this around the world. India right now has gotten the attention of the entire world, and we are just so moved at the outpouring of concern and support that we're seeing here in the United States. You mentioned the U.S. government mobilization, which is indeed quite massive and substantial, as every asset of the U.S., the military, the diplomatic, the assistance channels are being mobilized. The private sector is launching a massive effort as well. We have created a coalition of businesses across America under the banner of the Chamber, working with the Business Roundtable, as well as, the U.S.-India corridor, the U.S.-India Business Council, and our colleagues at the USISPF, all working together to really galvanize the assets of the business community to support the people of India at this time.
Ms. Biswal, I think the big question that everybody would have is when, given the fact that we have an oxygen shortage for all sorts of reasons. The U.S. Department of Defense says that they want to explore the provision of field oxygen generation systems. Now, obviously, not a minute can be wasted. When is this going to be deployed on the ground, and where?
I can tell you that teams are working around the clock on that very question. Certainly the effort that our colleagues have been undertaking to secure oxygen concentrators, we're expecting that the first plane load will arrive in India in the next couple of days, and you can certainly speak to our colleagues at USISPF who have been working on that effort for more details. We know the U.S. Government is mobilizing, and we hope to have more information later today in terms of the assets that they are trying to move and the timeline for that.
Sure.
There is also working across industry with our colleagues at Amazon, at Walmart, at so many companies are sourcing worldwide. Our pharmaceutical companies are looking at global supplies. Our medical tech companies are sourcing global supplies of oxygen concentrators. This is really, and not just the oxygen concentrators, but oxygen cylinders. The oxygen plant that you referenced that DOD is trying to move on, ventilators, as well as the therapeutics and
Yes.
the vaccine announcement, of course, that you heard from President Biden yesterday of trying to source and release vaccines for
In fact,
India and
that's
other
really
global
interesting
crises
because,
as well.
as I understood it, in the past, these were all procured, was the AstraZeneca vaccine as part of Operation Warp Speed under the Trump administration. There were actually laws which prevented these from being exported, but quite clearly this administration is trying to find a way around it and believes it has, number one. And number two, it's just a matter of time. I mean, there are quality assurance protocols underway right now, and then a large number of these vaccines will actually come to India. That's my understanding. Is that right?
That is certainly what I am hearing as well, and I will say that I think the president and the prime minister discussed the modalities here. I'm not privy to all of that information, but I have seen the U.S. government turn on a massive focus on the global pandemic, and right now India is ground zero in that global pandemic, and all eyes and all efforts are being made to support
Sure.
Prime Minister and the people of India at this time.
Biswal, the Serum Institute of India reached out to President Biden directly, in fact, and said that, look, we need natural materials, raw materials, and a way has been found to actually procure that as well, right? So that's going to actually help speed up the process of making vaccines over here. And that's so important.
That is so correct, Vishnu. And let me just say, so the president did say that they are mobilizing the raw materials to support India's production capacity. Of course, the production capacity is an important long-term necessity. And in the meantime, the immediate needs are also front of mind to support the hospitals and the frontline workers of India in terms of their needs for the hospitals, and then the PPE that's necessary to ensure that there is sufficient protection. We are coordinating very well across the Indian government,
Right.
And I know that the Prime Minister has set up an operation under various government agencies to really facilitate what is coming in from around the world. And we certainly welcome that, because the logistics coordination with the government of India, with the National Security Agency, the Defense Agency, the Ministry of External Affairs, the Disaster Management Agency, and with the states is going to be a key factor as items start to make sure that we are coordinated and we are working hand in glove with the government in making sure that these items get to the people in need.
Well, let's hope it does arrive fast. America's aid so very important at this juncture, as indeed aid coming in from other countries. Oxygen generation plants, perhaps the biggest necessity on the ground at this stage. Thank you very much, Ms. Biswal, for joining us, sharing where American companies and the US government are actually working together to try and help us in this hour of need.